Hey, what's going on? We're looking at 7-Eleven Slurpee cups. I kind of bit my tongue. 7-Eleven Slurpee cups. My whole collection of the DC cups that came out in 1973. These are only the DC ones, none of the Marvel ones that came out in 75. I have some of them as well. They're over there stacked up on the right. But this is the beginning of my collecting. This is the first thing that I ever collected. Every one of these cups represents a trip that I made to 7-Eleven with 25 cents in hand, with the purpose of going and getting a different cup each visit and getting a Slurpee in it, like usually like a cherry or Coke Slurpee or a swirl. Those are like two of my favorites, were the cherry and the Coke, but they would have different ones each week, sometimes different flavors and also different cups. Obviously, I have no doubles in this DC collection here that I amassed as a 7 and 8-year-old over the summer of 1973, mostly. What I did as a little boy, as like I said, 7 or 8, is I did odd jobs around the house, but I made most of my money collecting bottles. So you used to be able to, so soda used to come in bottles, 6-packs, and beer did as well. A lot of glass people, and then the large, like what are now 2 liters, came in glass bottles. So I would take my wagon and go all around the entire neighborhood, and I got to know the neighbors, and they actually would set the bottles out on the porch for me. And you'd take those bottles to 7-Eleven, and you would get 2 cents or 5 cents for the large bottles, right? 2 cents for the small ones. And I would do that and make enough money, you know, in a day or two, you know, usually just in a day. I would make enough money collecting for a day to go and get myself a Slurpee with a cup, maybe a Snickers bar for a nickel, and maybe a comic book. But at that time, I wasn't reading superhero comics. I was reading like funny animal books, like little kid books, like Casper and Richie Rich. So these cups were my first introduction into superheroes, other than what I had seen on television, and they are awesome. So I had my favorite ones. I always liked that Lightning Lad and that Saturn Girl. Unfortunately, she's like, most of her color was rubbed off, but she was like, these two were my favorites. That Chameleon Boy. So I learned all about Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes from the back of these cups. So on the back of each of these cups, like here's the Flash one that's right in front of us. Let's take a look at the cups. So some of these really survived well. 1973, I believe. So there's a little bio on the back of each cup that teaches you about the heroes that are on the front, right? So this is how I first learned about the Flash, like other than what I've seen on television. And like Dr. Fate. Wildcat. That's a great one. I always liked this one. Is there a hole in this one? No, there's not. That's good. So here's what I would do sometimes. So I got into decorating my room probably, you know, after I'd already collected these. So probably when I was about 11 or 12, when I really got into reading actual superhero comics, I would use these cups sometimes and stick them up in my room. You know what? I don't think it's any of these DC ones. I think it's only the Marvel ones. That would make sense. So in 1975, Marvel came out with cups also that were sold at 7-Eleven. And I also did the same thing for these Marvel cups, except by that time, I was probably 8 or 9, and I was mowing lawns and doing more yard work and things of that nature than collecting bottles to get my 25 cents. And sometimes, maybe close to 50% of the time, I would get my 25 cents by scrounging around the house. I might be able to find 25 cents. But what I would do is I would decorate my room, and I would take a tack and I would stick this on the wall, which I obviously did with the Vision because he was one of my favorites. Then I would put pens or pencils or small toys or stuff in them. Let's see, look, I did it to this Cyclops too. So, you know, it's not that I'm ever going to sell these anyway, because this is my first collection, and I wouldn't want to sell these. These are going to be kept. But you can see that Marvel came out with cups as well, and they're really, really cool. This one's in really good shape still. But, yeah. 7-Eleven Slurpee cups. They're pretty cool. This is my whole collection. These Marvel ones. Look at this great Dracula cup. A lot of them are rubbed and stuff, and that would happen sometimes even when you bought them like brand new. Like, you might get a cup that was just rubbed already, right? And you're stuck because it wasn't serve yourself back then. It was behind the counter, and the guy that worked there, right? The guy that worked at the place, he was making your Slurpee, or she was. They were making your Slurpee. See, look, I have my Luke Cage, was one of my favorites, and I messed it up right there. This whole, see, sometimes some of these really survived, and I didn't stick holes in them. But I never used these to drink out of, right? This wouldn't have been accepted in my kitchen. You know, my mom would not have. She would put these under the sink or something, and she would just give them to me and tell me to take them in my room. That, you know, so if I wanted to use these to drink out of, I could have done that. And if I did do that, it would have been with these 3 cups right here in the center, because these 3 were my favorites as a kid. So I probably used that Saturn Girl a lot, and that Lightning Lad a lot. Also that Chameleon Boy. Anyway. So yeah. Looking at 7-Eleven Slurpee cups and the beginning of my collecting obsession, or how it all started. My first collection. The first thing that I collected. Also the first way I learned about superheroes. And yeah, that's it. These cups are out there. They're actually they're not cheap. These are probably 10, 15, 20 bucks a cup now if you tried to buy these, I think. I don't know. But certainly not the ones that are broken that have holes in them. But yeah, I can't imagine. I can't see myself paying that much for one of these cups. 25 cents at the time seemed like a lot, right? It was more than a comic book cost. It was almost more than anything there, except for like the bigger type toy type things. But you could buy like those Jelly Jiggler type Super Balls. You could buy a lot of stuff at 7-Eleven in 1972, 1973. Trust me, 7-Eleven was kind of cool. But I would walk all the way there, about 5 blocks from my house and back. I roamed the entire neighborhood as a little kid, completely unsupervised, from dusk till dawn. Or dawn till dusk, I should say. From sun up till sundown, I was pretty much outside almost all the time, as well as most of the kids in the neighborhood. And you were free roaming. It was organically grown, free roaming children. Unsupervised, no bicycle helmets, sissy bars, hard plastic clacker balls smashing in people's faces, easy bake ovens, creepy crawler machines, wood burning sets, any number of electrical toys that children used unsupervised. It's what made growing up in the 70s an incredible experience. So I hope you enjoyed this video about the cups. All right. Have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.